Hi, Michael. I see that you wrote a new set of essays without getting feedback for the previous set yet. I understand your exam is coming up, and I'm sure you want to get through the course. Although I really want to ask you to wait to get that feedback before you write your next set, because a lot of times the things that we say are useful and really helpful in preparing for your next set. So if you want to just give us a nudge if we haven't given you your essays back, then definitely do so. But I'd rather you do that than like send us the next set of essays without getting the previous ones, okay? Because maybe you could have taken some of the advice and applied to this. All right, anyway, let's see what you wrote. Workplaces, online communication is more common. Okay. Issue of virtual contact at work has grown in importance over the last few years. Weather, you're spelled weather wrong, by the way. This is the wrong type of weather. Online communication is more beneficial than personal encounters is a highly debatable topic, especially in the West. Personally, I strongly agree. Okay. This essay will demonstrate points, improve arguments. You need an S here. Using examples from the International Monetary Fund and Harvard University. Okay. So take a look at this. What are you telling me here? You're telling me that online communication is more beneficial. All right, fine. That's your opinion. Look what the question is asking you. Where'd it go? It's now more common than face-to-face meetings. So the question is not, is online communication good? Is online communication bad? It's this, how can I say this? The fact that we're doing so much more of it than face-to-face meetings. The fact that it has overtaken face-to-face meetings. Okay. Do the advantages of that outweigh the drawbacks? So do you understand what the it's subtle. It's subtle, but it is a difference. And understanding and focusing and developing that difference is going to be one of the things that an examiner looks at in giving a higher band score. Okay. Um, So that's one thing that I want to point out. And what that means for you and your essay here is it's not whether WHETHER is more beneficial, but it's this shift, the fact that we're doing so much more of it than face to face. Okay, that's what you need to be focused on here. So let's talk about this sentence. Nope, that's two sentences. Let's talk about this sentence right here. You say whether it is more beneficial than personal encounters is a highly debatable topic. So when you tell us that it's a highly debatable topic, you don't tell us whether it's better or not. You just say that it's debatable. Okay. And then you tell us that you agree. So it's not really clear to us what you're agreeing with. Okay. So you're agreeing that it's a debatable topic, is what it sounds like, but that's not really taking a position. The position that we're asking you to take here is if this shift towards online and less face to face is positive or negative. Okay, so these two sentences for me have that problem. You're not saying what you think you're saying here, and so therefore you're not agreeing with what you think you're agreeing with. Okay. Um, so that's that. Let's keep going because we spent a ton of time in your introduction. On the one hand, there is ample evidence that employees working remotely are cited to be much more satisfied with their occupational conditions. The central reason behind this is that they save a notable amount of time and money not only on daily commuting, but also on excessive business travels that could otherwise be avoided, as was the case during the COVID-19 pandemic. That has not led to global economic Armageddon. Let's look at this sentence. Look at this. What am I going to tell you? Do you know? I'm going to tell you that the sentence is too long. You should have broken it down into two smaller sentences. Would have made it much clearer to read. And you probably could have avoided some of these grammatical issues that came up. So, for example, maybe you could have stopped it here, which is still long, but acceptable. Okay. On excessive business travels that could have otherwise have been avoided, period. For example, during COVID-19, business travel came to a halt, and clearly the business world did not uh, suffer Armageddon as a result. Okay, so that would have been a better way to do this. Therefore, this shows us that online communication can be a very practical and effective mode of communication. Okay, so a recent study from home, a recent study from IMF has shown that almost 73% of employees that work from home claim they have more satisfactory work-life balance, spend more time with their families, or undertake leisure activities. Therefore, it is possible to state going online may make way for a more desirable labor environment. Okay, so what you've done here is you've done this thing that I was worried about when we were talking so much about your introduction. You've talked about the virtues of online communication. Um, but you've missed this idea of the shift, of the moving away from face to face. So, what I wanted here was some sort of comparison to face to face. Okay. So, I can't really find a place to put it. You talked about remote work. All right. Also, which I felt was a little limiting. So, when we talk about online communication, it doesn't have to be only online. It doesn't have to only be remote work. You can talk about emails. You can talk about all these different like chat functions that a lot of offices use. So to communicate, or things like Zoom. All right. So you didn't have to focus just on this whole idea of remote work. Anyway, I don't want to jump the gun. Let's see what you wrote in that next paragraph. On the other hand, it should not be forgotten that work provides other benefits apart from these financial. It is also a forum where people interact with each other on an informal basis, nourishing their relationships. This is largely because communication is not only about words, but also all the nuances that follow, like small talk or body language. Get rid of the. Studies from Harvard University have shown that the experienced job-related satisfaction fell by 47% among these employees who were only assigned to online tasks. Therefore, it is conclusively clear that digital meetings have their drawbacks. Um, okay. Okay, let's talk about that. To conclude from the arguments and examples given, I firmly believe that online encounters have their vital role in revolutionizing businesses, albeit the presented shortcomings. Okay, so interesting. Look at how nuanced this is. You're saying that, yeah, it's great, but there are shortcuts. There are shortcomings. So, where is that idea here? You said just you strongly agree. All right. So, your conclusion seems much more nuanced than you're saying, yeah, it's great, but there are these problems. In your introduction, you painted a different picture here. Okay, so what I want is I want this nuanced picture in your conclusion to also appear in your introduction. Okay, I already told you that I thought that second sentence was problematic because you weren't really agreeing with anything. And then, unless you were agreeing with the fact that it was a highly debatable topic, which you can't really do because they have asked you very specifically if the advantages outweigh the disadvantages. You have to answer this. Okay. And it's important that you do this as early as your introduction. Okay. So don't just tell me it's a debatable topic. We know it's a debatable topic. Otherwise, IELTS wouldn't have given it to you. But what you do want to do is you want to say, yeah, even though there are some disadvantages, I think the advantages are greater. That we've moved more towards online communication and less towards and further away from face-to-face meetings all the time. Okay. There are a lot of memes out there that say this could have been an email, this could have been an email, like for meetings. So yeah, I mean, you could talk about this too, all right? About how email and all these things like Slack and all these other things that people use, Zoom, how they have really made us much more efficient. Okay. And they allow us time to get things done that endless meetings would not have let us do. Okay. But again, you can see that there is this inherent um, um, comparison. That's what I'm looking for. Okay. And I didn't see that. So, just to kind of recap, we said that your introduction was not clear, this was not clear. Okay, this whole section here was not clear, and therefore your position was not clear. It's not clear what you're strongly agreeing with. Okay. Um, and then what are you actually telling us? This is interesting too. Yeah, let me see, what did you say in your conclusion? There are shortcomings. So it's a vital role in revolutionizing businesses, albeit the shortcomings. All right. So if it were up to me, what I would have done here is I would have reversed your paragraphs. I would have talked about those shortcuts first, those shortcomings first, because they seem to be a little weaker. It's not as important. And then I would have talked about how great this shift is. But again, we're talking about this shift. So just to, really kind of hammer that home. So I would have organized the paragraphs so that the paragraph you actually support more comes second. Okay, so it comes at the bottom. Okay, a lot to discuss there. So let's take a look at the school subjects. As I said in the previous correction, I really want you to include the image in your essay so that I can refer to it in my correction. Now I'm going to have to look for it and try to refer to it if I need to. The given pie chart depicts how grammar here. The given pie chart depicts how popular 7 school subjects were, namely, okay, in Germany in the year 2017. Now, I still would have changed it a little further. The given pie chart depicts how popular 7 school subjects were in Germany in 2017, namely. You could have done it like that too. I don't know. Yeah, either way. I guess the first way is fine too. Pupils, here I need an apostrophe after S. Choices are presented in percentages. Obviously, if it's a pie chart, it's going to add up to 100%. So you do not need to write this. I understand that it's a short task and you're probably trying to find a way to add some words here. This alone gives you an extra 11 words, but it's obvious. Okay, you don't have to do this. The key observation is that PE was the most favored, not favorized, discipline, while IT was hardly chosen. Fine. All right, to begin with. Now, what did I tell you in your previous task? I told you I want your body paragraphs to be divided into 2, not 1. Don't just give me one big lump paragraph, but it'll help you also in terms of coherence and cohesion, okay? All right. So, to begin with, the most admired, careful, just because it's popular, it doesn't mean that it's admired. It just means that a lot of people selected it. Maybe they hate it, but it's an easy class. Do you understand what I mean? So, the word admired is incorrect. To begin with, the most popular school subject was PE. Now, careful with words like peak. We use reach a peak when there is action. There is no action here. What you have here in this pie chart is what we call a static chart. There is no movement. You're just looking at a snapshot of a moment in time. So we call these static charts. And therefore, you cannot use words that depict or that imply movement, like reach a peak. Instead, you want to use comparison words. Okay? So, to begin with, the most popular school subject was PE, with the highest proportion of 22.9%, closely followed by history with 22.4. Full stop. Not joint together. We don't say that in English. But you could say together, comma, these 2 subjects were preferred by nearly 45% of school children in Germany. You can say it again. It's okay. Now, again, if you're trying to add words, you could say slightly less well liked, but still popular were physics and maths, attaining, respectively comes at the end, attaining 18.1 and 19.5 of pupils' choice, respectively. Okay, now here's where I would have changed paragraphs right here. Okay, remarkably, among natural sciences, physics was, I don't know what this means. CA? I don't get that. 2.5 times more popular than, not that, biology. Not the last named. We don't say that. I think you want to use the former and the latter, even though in this context it doesn't work. Physics was 2.5 times more popular than biology. All right, now rather than just telling me this, let me see. You've done something interesting here. So you talked about physics and then math, and then you've gone physics and then biology. So I'm a little confused about this. I'm not really sure why you did this. Um, yeah, I'm not really sure why. Physics was 2.5 times more popular than biology. And then how are you going to do it? You're going to say, oh, you could say, which was, no, which only marginally surpassed geography by 0.7%. Yeah, I don't know. This whole thing feels really awkward to me. So, as I said, I would have changed paragraphs here. I'm not a huge fan of this transition. I'm thinking maybe you could have done something else. Like maybe it would have been smarter to talk about IT here. But I'm finding this transition and this link between physics and biology really awkward, and I'm not finding a good way to kind of combine them. Anyway, um, and then this sentence becomes really awkward as well. The last named, which is an expression we don't use, only marginally surpassed geography by 0.7, reaching a level of 7.1. So which subject was 7.1? Biology or geography? So I'm confused here. So do you see how this is leading to confusion? There were cleaner, more concise ways of doing this. Surprisingly, IT was the least favorite discipline and gained interest uh, among only 3.7 3.7% of German learners. In other words, IT had just 1/6. Get rid of this. The popularity of that of PE. Okay, I'm glad you did that. That was a smart thing to do to connect IT to PE. That was a really good thing to do, and I agree with that. But I think I already told you what I think some of the other issues are. So okay, it's got some strengths, got some areas though that I think um there were some things that you could have done a little differently. All right. So let's see how you apply some of these suggestions in your next set. Okay. Good luck to you.